Hello, everyone. Welcome to Inside the Tape on Inside the Birds. I'm Jeff Mosher with Adam Kaplan. And of course, with Inside the Tape, we always bring in a man who breaks down more NFL tape than anyone we know, and that is Greg Cosell. And Greg, the Eagles are back in the win column. Everything is great. They're going back to the Super Bowl. Everybody's a Hall of Famer. You know the drill. The Eagles beat the Vikings in Week 7. They snap a 2-game losing streak. They win 28-22. And as always, you're going to take us through the tape breakdown on offense and defense. And for this episode, this first part, we're going to start with offense because what a breakout we saw from the Eagles passing game in the second half. But before we really dive into the nitty gritty, just tell us some big picture bullet points that stood out from you.
Well, I think first of all, it's the number of plays under center. They had 19 snaps under center, and I think there were only 1 or 2 tush pushes, so it wasn't a case where it was a function of tush push.
Yeah.
And in the previous 6 games, he'd been under center 48 snaps, and there were multiple tush push plays, obviously, as we all know. Mm-hmm. So I think that's something that really stood out is the way they put him under center, and you would think that that's something they'll do going forward. Because I just think it gives you so many more options. And just so people understand who may be hearing us for the first time, you do not have to run the ball effectively for the play action pass game to work under center, because I know that that's automatically said as if it's gospel, and it's been proven time and time again going back 100 years that that's not the case. So
yeah, and that was clearly not the case against the Vikings, right?
Correct. That's why I wanted to make that point. Yeah. I also thought that, and we can get into the detail of it, but I really thought that the play that really changed the game was the Smith 79-yard touchdown, which was on the first possession of the third quarter. Mm-hmm. It was actually the second play of the third quarter. And the way they set that up with what they did in the first half, I thought it was absolutely fascinating and just an example of great coaching. I guarantee the coaches upstairs saw how they reacted to that particular personnel package and formation and knew that they had an opportunity. And that to me is football. That's one reason, guys, I love football, because that to me is football. And we'll get into that. I imagine your show will be looking at that play, and I can just explain, it in a little more detail. But, plays like that, obviously 79-yard touchdowns don't happen very often in the NFL, but it was just really, when I saw that, I was like, oh, wow, they saw it and they knew. And it just, I think that stood out to me as an individual play that came from something prior.
So, Greg, you told us in our pregame show that one thing you have to understand with Brian Flores, and I know you talked about how good he is, but there are voids in his own defenses. And golly, well, here's the funny thing. You said, and you were definitely right. It was just AJ Brown didn't get as much as Devonta Smith, but Brown, of course, had his plays. Was it kind of okay after watching the tape? This is what I was expecting for the voids.
Well, we did talk on Friday, and I think we all understood that you can throw the ball on this team, and if you can protect, you can throw the football. And for the most part, they protected, and they were able to throw the ball. There were a lot of voids in the coverage. For a team. One thing I've noticed about Brian Flores, and I know he's really good and he's super highly respected because it is a difficult defense to play against, but it's not as if it's a shutdown defense. They do give up plays. We talked about that on Friday in our pregame show, and then that's not an interpretation. That's what history shows. There are plays to be made in the passing game, and there are voids, because what he does a lot is, and then actually in this game, he rushed 6 a number of times, and that means there's only 5 in coverage. And you're trying to, and they're not playing zero, just so people understand. They were not playing pure man. They don't play pure man very often. There were some snaps of it in this game, but that's not the foundation of Brian Flores' defensive philosophy. So they end up having to zone match. And it's hard to zone match with only 5. It's just a very difficult thing to do. So there are voids in the coverage.
Well, Greg, I would imagine that the Flores philosophy, by sending 6 and being as exotic as he is with his blitz schemes, is that he thinks he's going to get your quarterback before they find the voids. But I thought the Eagles' offensive line in pass protection did fairly well. Did you think that on tape? Did that show on tape?
I thought Mailata had a strong game in pass pro. and he'd been struggling for much of this season. I thought he played really well. It's funny. We talked about the fact that they don't play a lot of man coverage. But, that first touchdown that ended the first possession was a classic case where they did play 2-man coverage, and Cashman was a spy on Hurts. They were only rushing 3. So Hurts ended up with 5 seconds in a very clean pocket. They generated no pressure on him, and he was pretty much able to tell Brown to adjust his route vertically against Metellus, who you really don't want to be covering Brown anyway, but it happened because of motion. Again, so that's what happens if you don't get there. That play happened, as I said, to be man coverage. But, if he's going to be in the pocket for 5 seconds and you have Metellus and A.J. Brown, not really good things are going to happen for the Vikings defense.
Right.
So then let's also talk about the rushing offense, which once again was not impactful. They had an injury. Cam Jurgens came out. Brett Toth came in. I didn't clip the play, but there was a -6 on Saquon Barkley run where it just, I don't even know if Toth had a chance to make the play. Go ahead.
Here's what I thought. I thought that Toth limited their run game concepts because there are certain movement blocks he cannot make from the offensive tackle position. And I thought there were a couple of times, and I had this validated by someone in the organization because I was curious, that I thought that there were a couple of times they asked him to make blocks that he can't make. And I know the play you're talking about. I made a note of that because quite frankly, based on the Vikings defensive front on that -6 yard play, he was asked to make a block on a 3 technique D tackle, Redmond, who's actually a pretty good player, as we saw in this game, that Toth can't physically make. Now, I'm not ripping the coaching staff. You still got to run your plays. I mean, you're not going to all of a sudden go into a 9th grade run game just because Brent Toth is playing center. You still have to run your plays, but there's just things he physically can't do.
Adam, it's pretty interesting, right? Like the Eagles in the fourth quarter had a lead and they can't run the ball. They were trying to, and ultimately they had to take the aggressive approach and throw it there to A.J. Brown for the kill shot at the end. But ordinarily they would love to have just gotten more out of Saquon in their running game there.
The throw that was aggressive. It's funny. It's shades of Kellen Moore last year did it.
Yep.
But that's when they're running the ball great. Here, they're not running the ball. They can't run the clock out because they can't. It's one thing if you're just want to grind clock, you don't care about first downs if you're up by 17 points. But when you're up such a slim margin and you can't run the ball to get a first down, you have to throw the football. That's just, you make a good point. We may see this going forward now if they have a lead in the fourth quarter and it's tight, though. You're going to have to throw the ball to win. Probably.
Well, the thing is, too, the Vikings went 0 on consecutive plays was less than 2 minutes remaining. And the second one, of course, was the Brown Sluggo where it was for 45 yards. So, running the ball was not likely an option there just because there were so many people on the line of scrimmage. But you're right. We've seen them do that in the past where in critical moments late in the game, if they feel they're getting significant pressure, they do throw it up. And Brown is as good as there is in the league on those. That one, of course, he was wide open because he ran Sluggo. And Rodgers, as you would expect, I mean, Rodgers really didn't. You can't rip Rodgers. They went 0, and he's playing the slant. Which, by the way, a few plays earlier, he threw it behind Brown, which almost was intercepted. And would have changed our whole discussion. Yeah. But the run game. I mean, you could have won a lot of bets if you would have said that. 7 games into the Eagles season, Saquon Barkley does not have a 20-plus yard run. You could have won a lot of bets.
Take the under on the yardage for the season. Yeah.
And guys, I wonder, I know the Eagles offense wasn't great in the first half outside of the one touchdown to A.J. Brown. But as Greg is pointing out, and we'll get into on tape, a lot of the things that they were able to do in the second half, from the Devonta Smith touchdown, 79 yards, to the slant sluggo that A.J. Brown that Greg just referred to, was because of things that they did in the first half that may not have executed the way they want, but out of the formation, right? So they were able to make plays in the second half that they were setting up in the first half. So if you're going to look for a silver lining for a lethargic first half, at least you were able to do what you wanted in the second half.
But that didn't really happen, Jeff, because we know that Kevin Petullo, he's already been decided that he's an idiot. So that really didn't happen.
I thought you were really going to make me look bad. You're just making a joke. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg. I was like, man, I'm going to have to edit out everything I just said. Because
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, no, I thought I saw that too, but
Yeah.
Hey, you know that one guy in the group chat who hit a 5-leg parlay week 1 and he wouldn't shut up about it for the rest of the season? Sounds like Kaplan, right? Yeah, it could be him. It could be you, and we would all want to be you. My bookie makes it stupid easy to get in on the action, whether it's college ball, NFL, super contest, and survivor pools, all the spreads, player props, and in-game lines that you could want all under one roof. What more could you want than that? If you're new to my bookie, use our code, THEBIRDS, THEBIRDS, the birds. Use the code, and any bet you choose up to $500 is fully covered. Make your play, and if it doesn't hit, you get it right back when you opt in using your bet back bonus token. There is no better time to jump in right now. No better place to play. Football is back. Let's make some money with my bookie.
sports are all about competition. Every snap, every possession, every clutch moment matters. That same energy is what 1v1 Me brings to video games. Every single day, you can watch and stake on matchups in Madden, NBA 2K, FC, and Call of Duty Search and Destroy. All the games are streamed live. Every match has refs, and payouts are instant. And these aren't just random online lobbies. These are the best players in the scene, pros, streamers, and rivals. With season playoffs and the championship game on the line, every game matters. Over $100 million has already been paid out on the app, and the community is growing fast. If you're a sports fan, a gamer, or just someone who loves having a little extra on the line, 1v1 Me is where you need to be. It's not just about winning, it's about the bragging rights too. Every match has a chat going crazy, and you can back your picks in real time. Download today and use code BIRDS. Your first stake on the app is risk-free. That's code BIRDS for a risk-free first stake. Let's take a look. So the Eagles offense, and we'll take a look at some of the plays, and Greg, you will start diagnosing. This is the first, this is obviously the touchdown.
Is this the first touchdown to A.J. Brown?
Yeah, this is the backyard play where he tells A.J., why don't you go there? And Greg, I just want you to, obviously we all saw what happened, right? But with the pointing and go, but diagnose it from what the Vikings were trying to do here with that three-man.
Yeah, well, it was 11 2-by-2 off the Brown motion across the formation, which turned out to be critical because that put Metellus on Brown. So the Vikings were in dime, and they played two-man coverage, and they spied on Hurts. So what happened here is there's only a three-man pass rush. You can see Cashman sort of drop out there. He's kind of at the 38-yard line. He's just sitting there looking at Jalen Hurts, which, of course, makes sense because it's third down, and that's what you do. You spy. A lot of teams do because you have to – if you're going to play man coverage against Jalen Hurts on third down and less than 10, you've got to account for the quarterback. It's just as simple as that. You can't just not account for Jalen Hurts because how many times over the years have we seen him just demoralize a defense that doesn't account for him, and he runs for a first down. Sometimes he's run for touchdowns. So they're spying on him. So it's a three-man pressure against five offensive linemen. So they're not getting anywhere near him. And because of that motion by Brown, and they don't know for a fact that they're going to change the coverage and put Metellus on him. They don't know that for a fact, but that's the way this played out. So you can see that within the context of the play call and the routes, that there's no clean throw right here. You know, everybody's pretty much covered, including Brown at the top of the screen with Metellus pretty much next to him. But now Jalen is looking out that way, and he sees clearly there's no one over the top. So what he does is he basically just tells Brown, just go deep. I mean, I'm throwing it to you. You know, we've got a matchup here. He didn't expect maybe he'd be that wide open when he threw it to him, but it became backyard sandlot football, and sometimes that's the way the game plays out. And that was
pretty
really
cool, though.
You know,
just
really
go,
well
go
done.
deep. How often do you see that? I just see something.
And then Metellus, you like Metellus as a hybrid player, Greg, but as a man coverage on the outside against
He's
AJ
not a
Brown,
man coverage defender, but they play big nickel is their foundational defense. They don't really play base defense in a strict sense. Big nickel is their base defense.
Right. All right. So the next play, right, this is going to be the one that you said really opens up the game for the Eagles.
This is the first play of the second possession. Notice the formation, okay? They have six offensive linemen, which, by the way, they played on 9 snaps. I bet No one would have. I wouldn't have said that on Friday in our pregame show that they were going to play 9 snaps with 6 offensive linemen.
With Fred Johnson.
Yep, with Fred Johnson, right?
Yeah. So look at the formation. It's basically it's a 5-man surface to the field because AJ Brown is very tight to the formation. So it's 5 there, and you have Devonta Smith as the single receiver to the boundary. So he's the boundary X, which he normally isn't. So this is a clear, specific formation that was game plan. Now, notice the safety to that side of the field is Harrison Smith. Notice where he is right now. Okay, he's basically down in the box. He's playing the formation and the fact that it looks like run. It's 1st and 10. Okay, now on this particular play, I think it's a 4-yard. I think it's a 4-yard run. Is it not?
This is the actual touchdown, I believe.
Oh, are you showing the touchdown?
Yes.
Oh, well, okay. Well, they did this twice with this formation. Okay,
right.
Then what happened? And one was a 4-yard run by Barkley. And the other was a penalty on Mailata for holding, but that's irrelevant. You still got to look, okay?
Right.
So they got this look, and then they knew when they came back to this on the second play of the third quarter, I guarantee the coaches at halftime, because this comes from up top.
Yep.
The guys on the field can't see this the way the guys on top can. So the guys on top, because all the coaches go in the locker room at halftime, and they say, hey, we have a look here that, we need to take advantage of this look. We've gotten it. We know what we're going to get. So they got this look. So now what does it become? It becomes one-on-one with Devonta Smith on the outside against Rodgers. And boy, you see a good route runner. Look at this route.
That was nasty.
The way he just turns him to the sideline. And now there's no safety over the top because the safety is to the other side of the field. And this is just, it's way more than pitch and catch because it's not just a routine.
This is a big time throw, though. Look at the distance.
Yeah, but
the touch has to be great.
Yeah, it's just it's great football all around. It's great understanding of what you're getting from the defense, and it's great execution by Smith and by Hurts. I mean, it's just like I said to you guys. This is why I love football. This is football to me.
All right. Is this now? This is the other
Good
end.
help by Barkley too, by the way.
Yeah, I wanted to show that because this was not a strong pass pro game.
He did have one great one, though, that I mentioned where it turned out not to be an important play, but where he definitely, I think it might have been an incompletion. I can't remember, but where he just laid out Cashman, I believe. But you normally don't see that from Barkley. But this play
what's interesting here, Greg, is because they have enough with Fred Johnson as the 6-0 line and 6. Barkley doesn't necessarily have to pick up a free.
No, he handles leakage, and there was leakage there from Toth. He handles leakage.
Look at that.
This is beautiful.
Over the air yards, do you know offhand? I can't.
Well, you can go back and look, and it's easy to
I didn't see
figure
next
out.
gen. The air yards were just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a good point. He threw it from the end zone, so call it the 1.
No, not
the 1. I'm sorry, no. He was deeper than that.
If you go further back, you'll see it.
Yeah.
Where is he at?
Further back from the sideline, you'll know for sure. If you can.
Yeah.
So he's throwing it essentially from his
13, 14?
15.
14. He's throwing it from his 14-yard line. So it's 36 yards to the 50, and he catches it at the 30. So it's 36 and 20.
Like
so it's 56, give or take. Might be closer to 60 just because there's a little, probably about 60
catch it
yards.
30. Okay, catch it at the 30. Yep.
Yeah. That's a lot of air yards.
So that's why I said it's not just pitch and catch, even though it was so well executed, it looked like that.
Right. All right. On our next one, we'll have Hurts going to Devonta Smith again, Greg. This was a 28-yard on 3rd and 15.
Yeah.
Right. So this is kind of a demoralizing play for the Vikings.
This was the second, third quarter possession. This time the Vikings did not pressure. They went cover 3 behind a 4-man D-line pass rush. This was an interesting play because this was Hurts kind of being Hurts, but then resettling because he broke down here because he saw green grass in front of him. And you'll see it when you run this. Right now he sees green grass, okay? Because look at the pass rush. The 2 interior guys go outside, so he sees space in front of him, okay? And keeping, it's 3rd and 15, so it's a long way to go for a first down. It's not, 3rd and 4 where, I can get the first down. So he breaks down and starts to run, but then it gets closed up, and he has to kind of resettle and refocus, and then he runs to his left and gets his eyes back up and looks downfield, And Smith does a phenomenal job here coming back to the football. Phenomenal.
Jeff, this has been a part we talked about in our postgame show where they have not historically with Hurts done a great job of coming back to the football, but there Smitty did. Brown did 0-1.
Mhm.
And to Hurts, like the difference between him and previous years is the one thing that's interesting, Greg just pointed out, he's done a better job of maintaining his downfield focus because he's just not running as much.
Yep.
This is a
You
last
can see
year.
it from this angle.
He would have bailed and run, found a way to run.
Well, to be honest with you, he tried to. But you know what? There's a lot of mobile quarterbacks that might have done this. I bet Josh Allen would have seen green grass and started to run too. He started to run. It got closed off. And then he had a, to his credit, he reset. Look, now he got his head up.
He could have run. He could have run there. He didn't.
Yeah. Honestly, this is what Carson Wentz did like 30 times in the game, but Carson did some weird
and he
stuff.
Got his head up.
Yep.
And that's not an easy throw. He's running to his left, and he put it right on him.
I'm glad you pointed that out. I wanted you to say that because that is not we always talk about having your feet set. He doesn't have his feet set, but he makes a really nice throw.
No, that's really good. I mean, look, quarterbacks that can run do that, and you can't really call it a negative because you know what? They make a lot of plays with their legs. The key there is that instead of becoming frantic and frenetic and chaotic, he got his head back up and he looked downfield instead of just running and with almost, I don't want to say no purpose, but you know what I mean?
Sure.
I mean, he made that a play instead of it becoming random. He made it a play.
Right. And now this becomes the very next snap. And look, they're under center again, to your point, Greg.
There you go.
Now, Hurts, this might have been Hurts's best throw of the day because he's going to get almost annihilated there.
I remember this play. Yeah,
that was an incredible play. And I mean, look, they missed a block and he stepped up and he looked at the term is looking down the gun barrel. He did there because he would.
Well, it's funny because the pressure came from his right. He didn't.
Right. No, but what I'm saying is,
but he didn't see it, which is actually the way you're supposed to play quarterback.
You feel it, don't see it. Right. It's the term
right.
But watch. I don't know how he did it. He stood there, he stepped up, and he delivered. This is one of the best throws he's made in a long time.
How does being under center dictate what the Vikings are doing here, Greg? Anything?
Well, maybe not on this specific play, but let's see. Let me see again. Well, first of all, look at I forget who it is, but the guy who's a second level defender, sort of between the hashes. He's stepping up.
Right.
He's stepping up. Now again, this is they have a lot of voids here. I mean, this is they're pressuring here, and there's only 5 in coverage. This is what I was talking about when we started talking about their defense. There's only 5 in coverage, and they're not matching up. They're trying to, but they're not matching up. So if you keep running it, Jeff, I mean, who's reacting to Smith here? Now, again, we're not saying this is an easy throw. That's not my point at all.
No, but your point about being voids, I mean, is absolutely relevant.
The point is that the fact that there's such a big void helped Jalen here because he didn't have to think, where am I going to throw it? So therefore, even though the pressure came, he's seeing this so clearly. I mean, this is a big time void,
and that's where when you're Brian Flores, you think, man, usually in this situation, my pressure is going to get to the quarterback and force a worse throw, but what do you do when you're Brian Flores? He makes a great play here.
He also had to throw it on time here, a little bit late, and the guy comes over to deflect it.
Who got beat there? Was that Fred? I guess the extra OT.
No, it's not.
No, you're right. That's the right. That's not Lane though. Who is that? Hold on.
I think it's Steen.
It is 74.
Yeah, it's 74.
Fred?
Or is it Johnson?
That's Fred. 74. He's getting. He's trying to ride the guy to the outside.
Yeah. No, it's not. It's 51.
Oh, well, I'm sure you're right because there's 2 guys who are going to get pressure. So is there a free rusher out of this, or did Steen just not get him? Yeah.
There's not a free rusher. It ends up being
there
ends up being a stun element, I believe, and
right. Yes,
51 comes underneath, and he's the guy.
You're right. I wonder if that was it was a very slow stunt. If it was
a calculated stunt, or if it's just the way the pass rush played out, it's hard to know.
Good point. Because he tries an arm under move first instead of picking Lane Johnson, and then either way, I don't know. I forget who that is down the edge. 61. Wow. That's the guy you mentioned, right?
Isn't that Jalen Redmond?
Yeah, he was.
That view, Jeff, makes it throw even better
Yep.
That was the timing had to be perfect.
Well, it's pretty amazing that he was able to make this throw because his he gets right there.
Wow.
What do you
The
say?
ball
Greg?
wobbled. The ball did wobble a little bit, but I mean,
Yep.
he was so wide
He
open.
got it out.
Game of
He
fractions.
is strong too. Being built like he is, I know he's
Yeah.
not tall, 6'1", but he is strong.
Yeah.
So
Throw between the numbers. Tough ball.
if it's late, see,
Yeah.
Jeff, that guy, whoever that guy is come across to try to get Smitty, that ball wouldn't have deflected if he was just a hair late.
Yeah. I think is that Harrison Smith, 22?
Yes,
Either way.
Smith is 22.
But I mean, that's a great example of the voids. I mean, if you're going to have 5 in coverage, there's voids.
Yeah. Also, how tough is Devonta Smith for being a little guy? I mean, that was
Yeah.
not an easy grab, and he knew he was probably going to get drilled, and he got drilled.
He's such a good receiver.
He really is good. Do you know he's 6th in the NFL right now in receiving? Adam, do you remember in the preseason preview we did? I said I have a feeling that there's a higher level that Devonta Smith might reach this year, and so far he's reaching it. 6th in the NFL in receiving.
Well, this
They
game
had a
was
huge game,
Huge
Sunday.
game.
So.
Yep. All right. So now we get and by the way, it was 21-19 when Devonta Smith made that catch. It was a close game. So those 2 completions there, the one to Smith for 19 and then for 21, were really big, and the Eagles got back on the board. And then we get the very next play here, Greg. I think this is.
Well, look at the voids again.
Yeah.
It's play action, too.
Play action. Yep.
It's play action under center.
So this is back to Devonta again.
Yep.
And again, under center, right?
Under center.
Oh, yeah.
Now, how does that dictate? Do the safeties move? Yep. You got a safety creeping up, right?
Well, again, it's just
Wow.
I see in this coverage, and I don't know how Brian Flores teaches it, so I'm not going to sit here and say
Look at the space, Devonta.
But I don't know who is supposed to play this.
Right.
That's bad.
Boy,
You're
absolutely right about that. Yeah.
A couple of things are going on here, and again, I get without knowing how it's taught. First of all, that corner that ends up just sinking and sinking and sinking deep up top, and the safety to the bottom of the screen, the depth that they're playing with, I don't know how they teach it. Like I said, I just don't want to say that somebody made a mistake or blew it, but there's no way that Brian Flores says, "Oh yeah, we'll give up that void, no problem."
Give him 20 yards of the middle.
He's not saying that. So somebody here did not play this the way they were. But look at 51 again, and that's Cashman. Look at him wait for the play action. And again, there's not really a lot of pressure.
No. Wow. Man,
It's not really a pressure throw, contrary. I always tell people, because there's so many websites now that say pressure, as I learned from Ron Jaworski for 100 years, you have to see these plays to know. If the quarterback can complete his throwing motion, with his lower body and upper body, it's not pressure.
All right. This to me was one of Hurts's best throws. This
was just a touchdown, AJ?
Yep. And this is Adam's favorite play design, if I'm not mistaken.
You like this, Adam?
I do.
What do you call this route concept, Greg?
Well, it's what they ran here is well, first of all, the formation is it's closed. They put Brown in short motion. Okay, it's 12 personnel. It's closed to the boundary. It's twins to the field. Brown goes in short motion. So the Vikings were in their big nickel.
It's that burst.
I thought this was bang 8, but maybe
No, the bang 8's a slant. It's a slant.
I thought bang 8 was like a skinny post with a vertical.
No, let me see it again. It's not. They're running
slant.
2 verticals.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but I like the little. Isn't that a burst motion with Brown though? Wouldn't you call that burst?
Yeah, it's short burst motion basically.
Yep, I like that. Actually,
they're running 2 verticals with the underneath. They're playing cover 1. They're running 2 verticals with the short burst motion.
And Jeff, that's where AJ gets in front of Murphy. Murphy has no chance.
Well, Murphy's playing his help. Murphy, it's cover 1. Murphy's playing outside in because he has help. But
he gets. My point is, he gets inside of him
one-on-one because of Smith's inside vertical.
Right, and he stacks him really well right there.
This is a very common concept because if both guys fall down, theoretically, you got the shallow crosser into your vision. Underneath. So I mean, it's a very common route concept.
Murphy's not going to recover on that because he's just not strong enough. AJ.
Well, it's not a matter of recovering. He's playing to his help.
No, I understand that
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is to try to get because he doesn't have the help like he thought he would have right there inside. It's late. He could just muscle the guy, which is what he does.
It was a really well-timed, well-placed throw.
I think that's what stands out to me is because we've seen a couple of plays, not exactly the same route concept, but where between the numbers, where there's traffic and other bodies, where Hurts doesn't want to throw that, but he threw it with such great conviction.
Look at decisiveness on that play, Jeff. This play, look at him plant his foot and that ball's out.
Yeah,
that's the.
But the other thing too is, and this is where I think coaching and design marry up with helping your quarterback, because this route concept against any single high coverage, okay, even if it's pure, I mean, it is cover one, but even if Murphy played it differently, the fact is you end up with your best receiver one-on-one running a route. So ultimately, the design defines you hear me talk about that all the time, right? You want to define the read and the throw. Here they define the read and the throw. So there was no confusion post-snap for Jalen. He drops back. He just confirms that post safety, you see him look down the middle, is not going to fly over the top.
Yeah.
And once he sees that, he knows that it's, hit my back foot and throw the ball.
Yeah. And by the way, ball's out right now. AJ not yet looking. So great timing play right there.
That's
See, and Jeff, on your point, he does, unfortunately, when Hurts struggles, he doesn't throw that timing like you just talked about.
Right.
He got the picture that he wanted, and that ball's out. When he's confident, decisive, it's so obvious.
No, I mean
that's what we marvel at, is that when it's not like we've said this 1,000 times. It is not that he can't do these things that sometimes we say. I think it was just 2 games ago. We were showing some open AJ Brown routes where he just didn't want to throw it, and it was supposed to be thrown. But here today in this game, in this moment, he threw it, and then obviously, go ahead.
By the way, this is what Greg was talking about in our pregame show. You're going to get these looks.
Yep.
You're going to have spacing. Sometimes it's a lot. Throw the football. Boom.
Yeah. Now, the Eagles.
I mean, this is, this play is about as well done as you can do it. I mean, there's not, this is, like I said, it's marriage of concept and high-level quarterback play executing the concept.
All right. And then, of course, the Eagles want to be able to run the ball out. We mentioned they can't. They're having trouble. So sometimes you just got to throw the ball and find your shot. And this is basically what ended the game.
This was 0. And then the time, and we've seen Jalen do this before. He knows how to handle this. He throws it up. It's sluggo. Like I said, you can't blame Rodgers. He's playing the pressure and he's playing the situation.
Right.
He doesn't want to give up the slant route for an easy first down.
Slant up and go.
So he's going to jump the slant. It's sluggo. And the timing of the throw, and Hurts knows this. He's got a free rusher front side, a free hitter, and it's Harrison Smith. So he knows he's got to release the ball, and he can just lay it out there. This, the throw happens to be well thrown, but this is the kind of throw that doesn't have to be truly precision the way you think of, let's say, the 79-yard touchdown to Smith.
Right.
All you have to do is give A.J. Brown a chance here.
Yeah.
And that's what he says. Just give a chance to get the football.
In fact, and I think throwing off the back foot, he may have wanted to put maybe a yard or 2 more on this just to not make it as close as it wound up being. Because, Rodgers got 4.3 speed, and it wound up being a little bit closer, but he was throwing off his back foot.
He turned his body. Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Wow.
The number one thing on that play is you just want to complete the ball.
Yes, which he did. But you always say football is a game of inches or fractions, and there were a lot of plays that we just went where it was really close there. So
now this was a game where he clearly had some really strong moments in the pocket, but it was a game overall where there was a lot of pressure. There were significant voids in coverage. Hurts was at times was a reactive playmaker and did some really good things, and other times made some really strong precision throws from the pocket. So it was kind of a good mix. But this is a defense that gives you voids.
Hey, fall is planting season. Did you know that many plants and trees actually do better when planted this time of the year? But you got to know where to start, and that's why I love fastgrowingtrees.com. Doesn't matter if you live in the sunny south or if the air's getting a little chilly where you are, the plant experts can help you find the perfect fit for your space. They've got everything your yard needs: fruit trees, privacy trees, shrubs, flowering trees, so much more. And Fast Growing Trees makes it so easy for you to have your dream yard because you can order online and get your plants delivered directly to your door. If you're like me, you're tired of spending way too much money on landscaping. And if you walk into one of those nurseries and you look at all the stuff they have, you have no idea where to begin. That's why you need fastgrowingtrees.com. Doesn't matter about the size of your yard. They got over 6,000 plants to fit any space, and a 14-point quality checklist ensures you will get the best quality plants possible. This fall, they have the best deals for your yard, up to half off on select plants and other deals. And listeners to our show get 15% off their first purchase when using the code BIRDS at checkout. 15% off at fastgrowingtrees.com using the code BIRDS at checkout. Now's the perfect time to plant. Use BIRDS to save today. The offer is valid for a limited time. Terms and conditions may apply. Check out the link below or in the show notes and support the show. Hey, Philly fans, game day is stressful enough. Parking, traffic, long lines. We've all been there. But when it comes to your cannabis, Camden Apothecary makes it easy. This is the dispensary for sports fans, just minutes outside of Philly with plenty of free parking. You'll be in and out fast, no hassle, no waiting, and they don't just care about convenience. Camden Apothecary is all about the guest experience. Their staff makes sure you feel taken care of every time you walk in. Plus, they carry only the best quality cannabis at the fairest prices. So whether you're stocking up for the tailgate, the watch party, or celebrating a big win, you know you're getting the good stuff without overpaying. They even show love to the community with specials for fans, students, service members, and healthcare pros. Camden Apothecary, top quality cannabis, great prices, and an experience made for Philly fans 21 and up.
So we'll see what happens going forward.
Cool.
Hopefully this is the beginning of, hey, Hurts getting his confidence back, feeling like, hey, I can drop back and throw the ball. I'd like to see if they continue putting him under center. Like I said, there were 19 snaps under center. We'll see if that continues. I think, to me, again, I'm not in their meeting rooms, but I think that's a positive. I think they should be doing more of that.
All right,
Anything
we
in
will
the first
see.
half.
Oh,
Real
go
quick,
ahead.
I just want to ask Greg this. Anything in the first half? It was sort of a mundane first half, passing wise.
Yeah, and I'm sure
overall-
people at the end of the first half probably thought, oh, here we go again.
Exactly. That's what I'm asking
Yeah.
you. Anything stand out?
Look, the plays that Hurts made, and we're just being honest here, is Hurts capable of those special outside of structure plays? Absolutely. He's done that his whole career. But anybody who knows football knows that you can't go into a game counting on those plays happening. So they did in this game, and because Hurts is capable of it, you go, wow, those are really good plays. And they are. We say the same thing when Mahomes makes them, when Allen makes them, when Lamar makes them. We say those are great plays by great quarterbacks. So you've got to say the same thing when Jalen Hurts makes them. My only point would be no coach goes into a game saying, hey, if he doesn't run around and make plays, then we can't win. No coach says that.
This isn't right. I said last week. This is the NBA. Like, they're not telling you to, all right, take on three guys, see if you can break them down.
Right.
You got to throw from the pocket sometimes. But what was that story, real quick, that might have been Dave Canales that talked about Russell Wilson?
Oh, talking about Russell Wilson when I met him at the Combine when he was the wide receiver coach for Seattle. And actually, Andy Benoit introduced me to him. And I said to Dave, I just met him. I said, hey, can I ask you a question? We just met. I'd love to know. If you don't want to answer it, I understand. But, I said, how do you deal with Russell Wilson when he passes up a clean throw and then runs around and makes it, a really good play? Do you say, hey, we should have, you should have thrown the ball here? He goes, no, we tell him great play, Russell. I mean, that's, I think with quarterbacks that do that, you maybe once in a while you say, hey, we got the look we wanted. Just next time, think about throwing it. Maybe you say that. But I think with those quarterbacks that are capable of that, more often than not, you probably say, hey, good play, because you don't want to take away their instincts.
Right.
The stinger, as John DeFilippo calls it. Stinger.
Yes, the stinger. And there were certainly a lot of stingers there in the second half from Hurts to his receivers. And we'll see if any of that can carry over when they play the Giants next week. That is a wrap on the Eagles' offensive tape against the Vikings in their win. In the next episode, we will get to the Eagles' defense against the Vikings. So for Greg Cosell and Adam Kaplan, I'm Jeff Mosher. You've been watching Inside the Tape on Inside the Birds.